Have you ever felt the quiet pain of giving your all to someone, only to see them turn away when you're the one who needs a hand? Picture a life where you've spent decades pouring out love, sacrifice, and care for those closest to you. Yet now, in the stillness of your later years, they leave you standing alone, wondering if your heart was ever truly seen. What if the people you call family, those bound to you by blood, by shared history, are the ones dimming the light of peace you fought so hard to hold in your golden years? This isn't about closing your heart or walking away from love. It's about embracing the wisdom that age brings, learning to protect the serenity that belongs to you in this sacred season of life. There are people, even those who share your name, your past, your deepest memories, who can drain your spirit, steal your joy, and pull you away from the life you're meant to live. Today, we'll journey together through 5 types of people you must distance yourself from, not to hurt them, but to preserve your peace, your purpose, and the happiness you've earned through a lifetime of giving. Listen closely, because this is the moment you choose to honor yourself, not with selfishness, but with the strength, clarity, and grace that only a life well lived can teach. The ungrateful, a heart that never gives back. Life has a way of pulling back the curtain, revealing the true hearts of those around you. When you were young, you were a force of nature, unstoppable in your love and generosity. You gave everything you had, and often more than you had, to those you cared about. You stayed up late rocking your children to sleep, their soft breaths a reminder of why you pushed through exhaustion. You worked grueling hours, stretching every paycheck to put food on the table, clothes on their backs, dreams in their hearts. You set aside your own ambitions, maybe a career you loved, a trip you dreamed of, a quiet moment for yourself, to lift up your family, your friends, even strangers who crossed your path. You gave because your heart was wide open, because you believed love meant giving without expecting anything in return, because you trusted that your sacrifices would weave bonds that lasted a lifetime. But now, as your steps grow slower, as your hair turns silver and your hands bear the marks of years well spent, you're facing a truth that cuts deep. Not everyone remembers what you've done. Not everyone cares. The ungrateful move through your life as if your sacrifices are their birthright, as if your love is something they're entitled to. They walk into your home, take what they need, your money for their bills, your time for their problems, your emotional energy for their complaints, and leave without a single word of thanks, without a glance of appreciation, without a moment of recognition. They call when they're in trouble, when they need a loan to cover a car payment, when they need you to drop everything and fix the latest mess they've made. But when you long for a simple conversation, a phone call to hear their voice, a visit to share a cup of coffee and talk about life, they're too busy, too distracted, too wrapped up in their own world to notice you. They speak to you with impatience, their words sharp and dismissive, as if your presence is a burden, as if your years of giving are invisible, meaningless, forgotten. Take a moment to reflect. Look at the people in your life. Is there someone who makes you feel this way? Someone who leaves you questioning, was it all for nothing? Did I fail them somehow? Let me speak directly to your heart. You haven't failed. Your worth isn't tied to their gratitude or their lack of it. You've given more than enough, loved more than enough, sacrificed more than most could ever imagine. You've carried others through their darkest days, held their hands through storms, lifted them up when they couldn't stand. But the ungrateful, they have a dangerous habit. They rewrite the story of your life together. They forget the nights you stayed awake, worrying about their safety, praying for their future. They erase the days you stretched your paycheck to cover their needs, the moments you pushed your own pain aside to ease theirs, the times you chose their happiness over your own. They focus only on what you couldn't do, what you didn't give, and they use it to make you feel like you've come up short, like you're not enough. Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman who spent her life raising 3 children on her own. She worked 2 jobs, often skipping meals to ensure her kids had enough to eat. She gave up her dream of going back to school so she could send them to college, believing her love would build a bond that lasted forever. She stayed up late sewing their clothes, drove them to every practice, cheered at every game, her heart swelling with pride. But in her later years, her children drifted away. They'd call when they needed money for a new phone or a car repair. But they rarely stayed to talk, rarely asked how she was feeling, never thanked her for the years she carried them through. One Christmas, Sarah waited for them to visit. Her table sat with their favorite dishes, but no one came. Her heart broke. But that moment was a turning point. Sarah made a choice. She stopped chasing their approval. She stopped answering every demand with a yes. She started saying no, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. And slowly, she found peace in the quiet moments, tending her small garden, reading a good book by the window, spending time with friends who saw her work, who cherished her presence, who filled her days with laughter instead of demands. Sarah learned that her value didn't depend on her children's gratitude. She was enough, just as she was, and she deserved to live her later years surrounded by love that flowed both ways. You don't have to keep proving yourself to the ungrateful. You don't have to spend your precious years begging for the respect you've already earned, chasing after those who don't see your worth. If they couldn't cherish you when you were their rock, their provider, their safe haven, they won't honor you now that you're weary, now that you need them to show up for you. It's time to let them go, not because you've stopped loving them, but because you've started loving yourself. You've carried them long enough, through storms and struggles, through tears and triumphs, through years that shaped you both. Now, it's time to carry yourself, to hold your own heart with the care it deserves, to walk through your days with a lightness you've earned. Imagine waking up to a day free from their endless expectations, their careless disregard. You sit in your favorite chair, sip your morning tea, listen to the soft hum of the world outside, birds singing, leaves rustling, the gentle rhythm of a new day. The air feels lighter, your heart less heavy. You smile, not because you've closed yourself off, but because you've opened yourself to those who truly see you, who value you, not for what you give, but for the person you are, for the warmth of your spirit, for the wisdom in your eyes, for the love that still burns bright in your heart. That's the peace you deserve in this season of life, the peace you've fought for, the peace you've earned. Don't let the ungrateful steal it from you. Let them walk their own path. If they can't appreciate your presence, let them feel your absence. You've given enough, more than enough. You've poured out your heart, your strength, your soul. Now, it's time to live for you, to embrace the years ahead with a heart that's free, with a spirit that's whole. Your later years are for joy, for reflection, for the quiet beauty of a life well lived. Protect that gift with everything you have, and don't let anyone, family or not, take it away. Your heart is too precious, your peace too valuable, to be squandered on those who don't see its worth. The negative, a storm that steals your light. Some people carry a storm in their soul, so heavy it casts a shadow over everyone they meet, darkening even the brightest days. They're never content, always searching for something to criticize, something to mourn, something to tear down. You could be having a beautiful day, your heart full of gratitude, your mind at ease, the world feeling kind for once, but one conversation with them, and it all fades away. They drag up old hurts, replay forgotten arguments, and paint your present with the bitterness of their past, pulling you into their darkness. If you're not careful, you'll lose your light, your joy, your hope. Negative people don't just grumble, they infect. Their resentment spreads like a cold wind, chilling your spirit, stealing your warmth, dimming your perspective. They've held onto their anger, their pain, for so long that it's become who they are, their defining trait. They refuse to heal, because their wounds are their comfort, their excuse for staying stuck, their reason for never moving forward, for never seeking better. And when they see you trying to live in peace, to find joy in the small moments, it unsettles them. Your calm, your ability to smile despite life's challenges, your choice to focus on the good, it reminds them of what they've lost, what they've chosen not to chase. They don't want you to be happy if they can't be. They want you to share their burden, to sink into their gloom, to feel the weight they carry every day, to join them in their endless cycle of complaints. Be careful who you let speak into your life, who you let shape your thoughts. Their words are like a slow poison, slipping into your mind, clouding your hope, twisting your view of the world. They don't offer solutions, they point out flaws, magnifying every imperfection. They don't encourage you to rise, they remind you of times you fell, replaying your mistakes like a broken record. If you let them linger, you'll start seeing the world through their eyes. A world where nothing is ever good enough, where everyone is out to hurt you, where every moment is tainted by suspicion. You'll find enemies where there are friends. Hold grudges that should have faded. Carry hurts that should have healed long ago. Negativity will rob you of sleep, keep you up at night replaying old arguments, old wounds, old battles that belong in the past. It will make you wary of kindness, suspicious of love, afraid to trust the goodness that's still out there, still waiting for you. Let me share a story about John, a man who loved his weekly coffee chats with his old friend, Mark. For years, they'd sit together in a cozy cafe, laugh over shared memories, swap stories about their lives, work, family, dreams. Those moments were a highlight of John's week, a chance to reconnect, to feel understood. But as time passed, Mark changed. Every conversation became a litany of complaints about his job that never paid enough, his health that always seemed to fail, the world that was always unfair. He dismissed John's good news with a scoff, saying things like, "Well, not everyone gets that kind of luck." He'd drag up old grievances, arguments from years ago, slights John had long forgotten, and leave John feeling heavy, drained, like the joy had been sucked out of the room. John tried to stay patient, to keep the friendship alive, believing Mark was just going through a rough patch. But he noticed something. He dreaded those meetings. They no longer brought him laughter or connection, they brought exhaustion, a weight he carried home. One day, John made a choice. He started saying no to Mark's invitations, gently at first, then firmly. He began spending time with other friends, ones who lifted him up, who shared his laughter, who reminded him of life's beauty, who left him feeling fuller, not emptier. And in that shift, John found something he'd lost: joy in the simple moments, peace in his heart, a lightness he hadn't realized he was missing. At this stage of life, you don't have energy for conversations that lead nowhere, that spiral into complaints and criticism. You don't have time for conflicts that solve nothing, for words that wound instead of heal, for people who thrive on stirring up division. You need people who breathe life into you, who point you toward hope, who remind you of the goodness still left in the world, people who make you feel lighter, not heavier, who inspire you to see the beauty in the everyday. Step away from those who thrive on darkness, who feed on complaints, who live to tear down rather than build up. You don't need their permission to choose joy, their approval to seek peace, their validation to live fully. Imagine waking up abortion with a heart that's light, unburdened by their complaints, their gloom, their weight. You step outside, feel the warmth of the sun on your face, hear the rustle of leaves in the breeze, the soft hum of the world waking up. You smile, not because everything's perfect, but because you've chosen to protect your spirit, to let go of their poison, to surround yourself with those who lift you up. You've chosen friends who share your laughter, family who pray for you, people who see the beauty in your journey and walk beside you with love, with hope, with kindness. That's the freedom you deserve, the peace you've earned. Don't let their storm become yours. Don't let their darkness dim your light. Let them carry their bitterness, their complaints, their grudges. Let them hold on to their refusal to heal, their choice to stay stuck. You walk in the warmth of your own light, in the quiet joy of a heart at peace. Choose those who encourage you, who remind you that life, even in its later chapters, can be beautiful, can be full of hope. Your peace is too precious to let anyone steal, too valuable to let anyone dim. Guard it fiercely, cherish it deeply, and live it fully every single day, every single moment. The manipulators, thieves of your kindness. Some people approach you with a warmth so convincing, a smile so disarming, you'd never suspect the calculation behind their eyes. They know the perfect words to say, the right tone to soften your heart, the exact moment to pull at your emotions, to make you feel seen, valued, loved, but their intentions are far from pure, their hearts far from true. These are the manipulators, the ones who see your kindness not as a gift to cherish, not as a treasure to honor, but as a tool to exploit, a resource to drain, a weakness to bend to their will. They wear many faces, friends who've known you for decades, family who share your blood, even those you've helped through their darkest, most desperate days. They don't demand outright, they're too clever for that, too practiced. Instead, they weave guilt into every interaction, wrapping it around you like a net, tightening it with every word. They remind you of the times you helped them, not to thank you, not to show gratitude, but to keep you giving, to ensure the door stays open for more, to make you feel obligated. They use tears to weaken your resolve, letting their eyes well up at just the right moment. They use silence to shame you, withdrawing their affection to make you chase them. They use anger to control you, their sharp words cutting deep, making you feel responsible for their pain. They make you feel like their struggles, their mistakes, their happiness depend on you, as if their life hinges on your sacrifice, as if you owe them your peace, your energy, your heart. Do you recognize them in your life? The ones who call only when they need something, money to cover a bill, a favor to fix their latest mess, a shoulder to lean on when they've pushed everyone else away? They don't ask how you're holding up, don't share in your joys, don't sit with you just to enjoy your company, to hear your stories, to laugh at your jokes. They appear when you're useful, when you have something to offer, and when you have nothing left to give. They vanish, leaving you empty, drained, wondering why you feel so used, so hollow, so unseen. Let me tell you about Maria, a woman with a cousin named Lisa, who seemed to live in a constant state of need. For years, Maria was Lisa's lifeline. She lent her money when Lisa fell behind on rent, offered advice through countless breakups, opened her home when Lisa had nowhere else to go, cooked meals to comfort her through tears. Maria did it out of love, believing family meant being there, no matter what, believing her support would help Lisa find her footing. But Lisa never called to check on Maria, never asked about her struggles, her dreams, her fears. She never stayed for a simple cup of tea to talk about life, to share a moment of connection. When Maria finally said no to yet another loan, Lisa exploded. She called Maria selfish, accused her of betrayal, said she'd never been there when it counted, twisting years of Maria's kindness into a weapon. It hurt deeply, cut Maria to her core, but in that pain, she saw the truth. Lisa didn't love her, she loved what Maria could provide. What Maria could do, Maria let go, not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of self-respect, out of a quiet determination to protect her heart. And in that release, she found freedom, time to enjoy her hobbies, her friendships, her peace, time to live for herself, to fill her days with joy instead of obligation. Hear this clearly, hear it with your whole heart. You are not their savior. You are not obligated to fix their lives, to carry their burdens, to sacrifice your well-being for their comfort, to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Your compassion is a treasure, a gift, not a debt they can collect, not a chain they can pull. It's time to set boundaries, to say no, to protect your heart from those who take without giving, who demand without gratitude. When you do, some will push back, and they'll push hard. They'll call you cold, accuse you of changing, try to guilt you into opening the door again, into falling back into their control. But listen closely, let this sink in. The only ones who resent your boundaries are those who profited from your lack of them. They're not angry because you're wrong. They're angry because they can't manipulate you anymore. Because you've chosen yourself. Because you've reclaimed your power. Imagine a life where your phone doesn't ring with demands that drain you. with requests that leave you empty. A life where your kindness is met with gratitude, not expectation, where your generosity is cherished, not exploited, where your heart is honored, not used. You sit with friends who value your laughter, who listen to your stories, who make you feel seen, not used, who fill your days with warmth, not weight. You walk through your days with a heart that's light, knowing you're surrounded by those who love you for your spirit, not your resources, for your presence, not your provisions. You deserve that kind of love, that kind of respect, that kind of connection. Let the manipulators find someone else to lean on, someone else to control. You are not their crutch, not their tool. You are a soul worth cherishing, a heart worth protecting, a life worth living fully. Step away from their games, from their guilt, from their carefully crafted traps. Refuse to be tangled in their web, to be pulled back into their cycle of demands. Surround yourself with those who love you for your heart, not your help, who check on you because they care, not because they need something, who make you feel valued, not obligated, who see you as a person, not a resource. Your energy is too precious to waste on those who only take. Your peace too valuable to squander on those who only demand. Protect it fiercely, guard it with all you have, and you'll find a freedom that feels like coming home, a peace that settles deep in your bones, a joy that lights up your days. The envious shadows that hate your shine. Few things cut deeper than realizing someone you love, someone you trust, can't celebrate your happiness, can't share your joy. There are people who, no matter what you achieve, no matter how much light you bring, find ways to dim your shine, to cast a shadow over your success. These are the envious, the ones who can't bear to see you rise, who can't stand to watch you thrive, because your blessings, your victories, remind them of their own unfulfilled dreams, their own choices to stay stuck, their own refusal to chase better. Envy is a subtle poison, a quiet venom that doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It lingers, it festers, it hides in forced smiles, in congratulations that ring hollow, in compliments that feel like stings. Sharp and deliberate, you share a moment of triumph, a new job you worked hard for, a new passion that lights you up, a day filled with peace, and instead of joy, you get a cold glance, a dismissive comment, a silence that speaks louder than words. Must be nice, they mutter, their voice laced with bitterness, their eyes heavy with resentment. Some people get all the luck, they say, as if your blessings are unearned, as if your happiness is an offense. You feel the weight of their disapproval, the chill of their discontent, and over time, you realize the painful truth. They don't want you to win. They don't want you to shine. They want you to stay small, to stay struggling, to stay on their level. Because your light makes their shadows feel darker. The envious were there when you were down, when you had nothing but tears and empty hands, when life was heavy and hope was scarce. They stood by you, offered comfort, shared your pain, made you feel like they were in your corner, like they'd always be there. But when your life begins to bloom, when blessings start to flow, when you start to rise, they change, they pull away, their words turn sharp. Their presence feels heavy with unspoken judgment, with a resentment they can't hide. They try to make you feel guilty for what you've earned, as if your happiness is a betrayal, as if you should dim your light to soothe their insecurities, to ease their discomfort, to make them feel better about their own choices. Let me share a story about David, a man who worked tirelessly to build a small business after years of financial struggle. Years of scraping by. When it finally succeeded, when his shop started thriving, he was overjoyed to share the news with his brother, expecting excitement, maybe even pride. Instead, his brother shrugged, muttered, "Guess you got lucky," and quickly changed the subject, as if David's victory was nothing, as if it didn't matter. Over time, David noticed the pattern. Every achievement was met with indifference, every milestone with a subtle jab, every moment of joy with a cold silence. It hurt, cut David deeper than he could say. But in that pain, he learned a powerful lesson. his brother's envy wasn't his burden to carry. It wasn't his job to shrink himself, to downplay his success, to make his brother feel better. David stopped seeking his approval, stopped sharing his wins with someone who couldn't celebrate them. Instead, he turned to friends who cheered for him, who clapped for his victories, who shared his joy with open hearts. And in that shift, David found a new kind of freedom, freedom to shine without apology, to live without the weight of someone else's resentment, to embrace his blessings without guilt. Your blessings are yours, and no one, family, friend, or foe, has the right to make you feel ashamed of them. You don't need to apologize for the good in your life, for the dreams you've chased, for the peace you found, for the victories you fought for. You don't need to dim your light to make them feel brighter, to ease their discomfort, to soothe their insecurities. Their envy can't take away what's meant for you, can't undo the blessings you've earned, but their words can weigh you down, can make you question your worth, can steal the joy from your victories if you let them. Don't chase their validation, don't wait for their applause, don't shrink yourself to fit their insecurities. Your light is yours to shine, your blessings yours to embrace, your life yours to live fully, boldly, unapologetically. Imagine a life where you share your joys without fear of judgment, without the chill of their resentment. A life where you stand tall, knowing your worth isn't tied to their approval. Your value isn't diminished by their discontent. You celebrate your victories, big and small, surrounded by those who lift you higher, who clap for your wins, who share your laughter with open hearts, who see your light and add their own. You walk through your days with confidence, with joy, knowing that the good in your life is yours to cherish, yours to hold, yours to savor. That's the life you deserve, the life you've earned through years of struggle, years of giving, years of growing. Let the envious keep their bitterness. Let them wrestle with their shadows. Let them grapple with their own discontent. You, keep shining, keep growing, keep living the life you fought for, the life you built. Walk away from those who can't rejoice in your success, who can't share your joy, who can't celebrate your light. You don't need their validation to move forward, their permission to be blessed, their approval to live fully. Let them deal with their own resentment, their own insecurities, their own refusal to rise. You, step into the light, embrace the gifts you've been given, and live without apology, without hesitation, without holding back. The right people will celebrate with you, their hearts open, their hands clapping, their voices lifting you higher, their love making your victory sweeter. The wrong ones will fade away, and that's okay. It's their loss, not yours. Their shadow, not your light. The chaotic, a storm that pulls you under. Some people live in a storm of their own making, a whirlwind of drama, crisis, and chaos that never seems to end, never seems to calm. They stumble from one bad decision to another, broken relationships, financial ruin, endless conflicts, one mess after another, and they expect you to clean it up, to pull them out of the turmoil they've created, to rescue them from the consequences of their choices. You've been there, time and again, answering their desperate calls at midnight, giving them money you couldn't spare, offering advice they never took, trying to guide them to better choices, to a better path, but nothing changes. They keep falling, keep failing, keep creating chaos, and they keep dragging you down with them, pulling you into their storm, drowning you in their mess. These are the chaotic, the ones who thrive on disorder, who feed on crisis, who live for the drama they create. They don't want solutions, they want sympathy, want attention, want someone to feel sorry for them. They don't want to fix their lives, they want you to keep fixing it for them, to keep playing the role of rescuer, to keep carrying their burdens. They cling to their struggles, because without them, they don't know who they are, don't know how to exist. Their identity is tied to their chaos, their drama, their need for someone to save them, to clean up their messes, to make everything okay. And if you're not careful, their storm will become yours. Their chaos will consume you. You'll lose sleep over their problems, carry stress that doesn't belong to you, Pour your energy into keeping them afloat, only to find yourself drowning, sinking under the weight of their endless crises. Let me tell you about Anna, a woman with a nephew named Tom, who seemed to lie from one disaster to the next, one crisis to another. For years, Anna was his safety net, his lifeline. She paid his rent when he fell behind, talked him through countless breakups, helped him find jobs he'd soon lose to his own recklessness, his own refusal to change. Anna loved him deeply, believed her support would help him turn his life around, believed her love could pull him out of the chaos. But every call left her exhausted, every visit left her anxious, every conversation left her drained, like her energy was being siphoned away. She'd lie awake at night, worrying about him, stressing over his latest mess, carrying his problems as if they were her own. One day, Anna realized the truth. Tom wasn't changing because he didn't have to. She was always there to save him. Always there to clean up his messes. Always there to carry his chaos. With a heavy heart, she stepped back. She still prayed for him, still loved him, still hoped he'd find his way. But she stopped answering every desperate plea. Stopped giving money she couldn't afford. Stopped carrying his storms. And in that space, she found peace, time to enjoy her garden, to lose herself in her books, to savor quiet evenings with friends who brought calm, not crisis, who filled her life with joy, not drama. Anna learned that loving someone doesn't mean carrying their chaos, doesn't mean sacrificing your peace, doesn't mean losing yourself to their storms. It's time to see the truth, to let it settle deep in your heart. You can't save them. You can love them from a distance, pray for their healing, wish them well, but you can't change their path, can't force them to choose better, can't make them want peace. Their chaos is not your responsibility, not your burden to bear, not your problem to solve. When you step back, they'll try to pull you in, and they'll try hard. They'll say you've abandoned them, that you don't care, that you owe them because of all you've done before. They'll use guilt to keep you tethered, to keep you trapped in their cycle of dysfunction, their endless whirlwind. But you're not wrong for choosing peace, not cruel for refusing their turmoil, not heartless for protecting your heart. You're choosing yourself, choosing your well-being, choosing the life you deserve. Imagine a morning where your phone stays quiet, where no one's crisis interrupts your calm, where no one's drama steals your joy. You sit on your porch, listen to the birds, feel the weight of their storms lift from your shoulders, feel the lightness of a heart unburdened. You breathe deeply, smile softly, not because life is perfect, but because you've chosen to protect your heart, to guard your peace, to live for you. That's the freedom you deserve, the serenity you've earned through years of carrying others, years of giving, years of loving through storms. Let them face the consequences of their choices. Let them navigate their own chaos. Let them find their own way. You, walk in peace, in clarity, in a life unburdened by their storms, a life filled with the calm you've always deserved. Step away from their whirlwind, from their drama, from their endless crises. Surround yourself with those who bring stability, who encourage growth, who value your wisdom, who share your calm, who make your days brighter, not heavier. Your life is too precious to be caught in their chaos, too valuable to be drained by their endless needs, too beautiful to be overshadowed by their storms. Protect it fiercely, cherish it deeply, hold it close, and you'll find a serenity that carries you through, a calm that feels like a gift, a peace that feels like home. Closing, your peace is your greatest treasure. As you grow older, as the years weave silver into your hair and wisdom into your heart, nothing matters more than the peace within you, the quiet joy that comes from living true to yourself, from honoring the life you've built. You've fought too many battles, carried too many burdens, loved through too many storms to let anyone steal the light of your later years, to let anyone dim the beauty of this sacred season. You deserve mornings filled with quiet gratitude, where the world feels kind, where your heart feels full, where the simple act of breathing feels like a gift. You deserve days unburdened by drama, where you can laugh freely, reflect deeply, Savor the beauty of being alive, of having lived so fully. You deserve nights where you rest easy, your mind at peace, your spirit light, knowing you're surrounded by love that lifts you up, not pulls you down, love that sees you, honors you, cherishes you. Let go of the ungrateful, who take without giving, who leave you questioning your worth, who walk away without a thank you. Release the negative, who darken your light with their complaints, who poison your joy with their bitterness, who pull you into their gloom. Distance yourself from the manipulators, who exploit your kindness, who twist your love into obligation, who use your heart against you. Step away from the envious, who resent your blessings, who dim your shine to soothe their insecurities, who can't celebrate your victories, and free yourself from the chaotic, who drag you into their storms, who expect you to carry their crises, who steal your peace with their endless drama. You're not letting go because you've stopped caring, because you've hardened your heart. You're letting go because you've learned to care for yourself, to value your heart, to honor the life you've built through years of love, years of sacrifice, years of growth. Surround yourself with those who see your worth, who cherish your presence, who love you not for what you do, not for what you give, but for who you are, for the wisdom in your eyes, the warmth in your smile, the strength in your spirit, the beauty in your soul. Life is too short to carry the weight of those who don't belong, too precious to waste on those who dim your light, too beautiful to spend on those who don't see your value. Protect your heart, guard your spirit, and walk boldly in the peace you've earned, the peace you've fought for, the peace you deserve. You've given enough, more than enough. You've loved through pain, sacrificed through hardship, carried others through their darkest days, held them through their storms. Now, it's time to receive, to open your hands and your heart to the gifts that await you. Receive joy, the kind that bubbles up from within, that lights up your days. Receive freedom, the kind that comes from letting go of what no longer serves you, from releasing what weighs you down. Receive love, the kind that flows both ways, that lifts you higher, that makes you feel seen, valued, cherished. Receive the life you were always meant to live, a life of peace, of purpose, of joy, of love that feels like home, of moments that make your heart sing. Choose peace, choose joy, choose yourself, and let the years ahead be your brightest, your fullest, your most beautiful yet. Let them be the years where you shine, where you live fully, where you love deeply, not just others, but yourself, your heart, your life. You've earned it, you deserve it, and no one can take it away.